So what? Welcome to Awakening with Frank Buffa. Today we have a special guest,
We have a couple special guests.
and Daisy. Okay, my daughter. So I've been pretty excited about having this interview. I will say because all the work that we've been doing together, and definitely I think like everybody will be interested in having your experience.
Yeah.
Experience with what we've been talking, what we've been doing, and all the stuff we've been doing for the last, I don't know, 10 years.
Totally. And today, aren't we focusing on talking about like being comfortable in your skin and in your body?
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to do, like a few recording with you on that, because your experience aspect of that, the difference, the way I see it, weight loss or weight problem that people think as a weight problem, and obviously then they want a weight loss when actually the problem is not the weight, it's the body shape.
Totally. Every time I have gone through some sort of body change in a positive way, I feel like it's always like my body changes and then my weight is changing. It's not like, and I don't know why, but that is ultimately how I feel like it's gone.
Yes. I mean, again, why? Because your body changed because you change the way you think and you feel about yourself.
Right. And that's where it starts. And so I wanted to talk about, and we talked about this like last time we had our conversation, but I wanted to talk about where like my weight loss journey began because I lost 40 pounds. It started off where my dad gave me this exercise where I would look in the mirror naked, which already was like something that was so uncomfortable for me. And I would look in the mirror and I would write down two lists. I would make a list of all of the things that I saw that were negative, and I would make a list of all the things that I saw that were positive. And at first, it was really hard for me, and I didn't care to look at myself. And my negative list was so long and my positive list was so short. And at the end of that exercise, it was like for me at least, and I can imagine for other people, it would be very emotionally draining, just because if it's this thing that you're already avoiding and you already feel disgusted by yourself and you don't want to look at yourself, it's a really hard thing to do. But it's worth it. So stick with me. And after I would do all of that, I would be very much like stuck in like a negative part of my brain. And the second part of the exercise is I would look in the mirror and I'd look into my eyes, and I would start with looking into my eyes, and I would almost like scan my body, and I would say I love you. So I'd look in my eyes and I'd say I love you, and then I'd look at my neck and say I love you, my shoulders, my boobs, my arms, everything. And I would go all the way down and be like expressing love and gratitude towards myself, which didn't always make me feel like immediately great, like better after going through all the negative stuff. But as I kept doing this exercise and I did it every day, the list started changing and becoming more balanced. So I was noticing more things about myself that I loved, and I was noticing less things about myself that I disliked. Through doing this exercise, there was things about my behavioral patterns that changed, because I always struggled with binge eating since I was a kid. And I found that I was binge eating less, and I found that I was like feeling more inspired to like go on a walk or do some sort of exercise. And I never it never felt like I was forcing myself to do anything. Like I was, because, and then if you are a binge eater, if you have an eating disorder, you know that you can't force that shit. Like you don't have control over it. And so with binge eating was always this thing where I was like, when it's happening, I had to just let it happen. And when it wasn't happening, I had to be grateful that it wasn't happening. But I tried really hard not to judge myself when it was happening. And I think that that was a really huge tool for me as well, where if I was feeling bingy, I would try and first of all also like get foods that if I ate them it wouldn't leave me feeling like terrible, terrible, terrible. And I also have so many food intolerances that when I was binge eating, usually that's when I would be like, I'm gonna eat a bunch of bread, and I'm gonna eat a bunch of corn, and I'm gonna eat a bunch of carbs that I know are gonna make me feel sick, because I guess that's the point in binge eating, is to make yourself feel like shit. And so I think by doing this exercise and expressing my negative emotions and then trying to refocus my brain on positives, it made it so that my habits were changing
Mhm.
and working out became easier, eating habits started changing. And this wasn't like a thing where like I started doing it and then like, boom, like I was fine. It's like I still, my weight has fluctuated so much since then. Right now I feel the best in my body that I ever have, and I continue to do these exercises and to focus on positives more than negatives. But it was like a roller coaster for
Yeah,
me.
I mean, it's
I
back and forth.
lost
Yeah.
I lost 30 pounds, then I gained 25 pounds, and then I lost 10 pounds. Like this shit is back and forth for me.
Mhm.
And I'm now um I haven't I haven't binge ate in a very fucking long time. I enjoy working out every morning. My diet is so much better than it ever has been, and I'm not forcing myself
Yeah,
to do these
exactly.
things. I'm not forcing myself to eat a salad. I'm not forcing myself to work out in the morning. I'm not stopping myself from binge eating. These are all things that are like naturally occurring in me
Mhm.
now. And I think that the other part of it is even just like doing the exercise and doing something with the intention of making myself feel better. I feel like that also is such a
Yes,
huge part of it. Or like when I cook myself a meal rather than
exactly.
order the same meal from a restaurant, the intention of like I'm cooking this for myself and I'm going to nourish myself and make something that is going to be enjoyable for me, like my body responds differently to
Yep.
the same exact foods
So,
whether or not I'm cooking it or just ordering it. And
yeah,
that was also a big one.
yeah. I mean, I show it again. When you start doing that and you start cooking for yourself, or I mean, what? I mean that you like start caring for yourself more, which is part of the process. The process of like accepting you the way you are,
Mm-hmm.
loving you the way you are, to move you into like
Totally.
more and more like loving you more and more, which that
Totally.
and that's the
It's like a cycle.
mental that's the yeah the mind over matter. We go back to the same thing. So when
Totally.
you
And I
change your
my
thought,
was shifting the way
yeah,
that I felt about myself
mhm,
before I was changing anything physically.
exactly, that's the way it works.
Totally. And
The
even
mind,
now it's like recently people keep saying to me like, Daisy, like what are you doing? Like what's your workout routine? Like you have to be like doing some crazy shit, because my body changed really fast recently in a way that's really different. And when I tell them that like I'm literally like working out for maybe 20 minutes every morning and I haven't changed my diet and my weight hasn't changed, nobody believes me.
well, of course
But
not.
it is like it's about this thing of like every morning I wake up and I'm doing something with the intention of making myself feel better
Mhm.
and giving myself this little gift of like, doing my three fucking like workouts that I do or whatever. And it's really, I think, the consistency and the
Yep.
intention that has changed everything, because ultimately, like, I haven't changed that many things in my physical life.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I
no,
have emotionally been feeling incredible and
well,
like
that
just feeling like in my bag.
I mean that's why I want I mean to do this podcast with you, because I mean you're the first one that actually I start working on the mind over matter, on something that a lot of people are struggling with, and they try to change it only at the physical aspect of it. If you don't change your mind aspect of it, and obviously the belief and whatever reason, the body is going to be like in the shape that it is. I mean, you're not going to be able to achieve it, and that's why I mean, all the diet and exercise is forced.
Well,
Except like if you don't
totally. And
change
it's
the
like
mind aspect of it, I mean,
it was meant
that's
to
what
be
happened.
both.
And that's what happened with the newer resolution and all that. Okay, I'm gonna go to the gym. Yeah, it works for 15, 2 weeks, a month, and then they go back to like the same way than before. Why? Because they didn't
Totally.
change the mind aspect
Well,
of it
because you have to be working on the physical and the mental at
and
the
the mind.
same time.
But the interesting thing with you, and I know because we've been, I mean, I'm aware of it. The interesting thing for me, like when you start like telling me, like, all right, I'm starting to be attracted to like different food, like
Mhm.
more salad, more stuff that work definitely like better for your
Yeah,
body. So your body is being like, when you change your mind aspect of it, well, then the body is gonna tell you exactly what it needs if you pay attention to it.
totally.
The same thing with exercising. I mean, I know like that's something we forced. And at
Right.
one point, like you were telling me, oh my God, every day. I mean, now I'm like, I'll be walking by the time, and
Totally.
and then evolve to what? putting in place like a workout routine.
And I'm enjoying it. It's not a
Well,
thing
that
that
it's
I'm
not
forcing.
force. It's not torture.
Totally. And even I was talking to you a couple weeks ago and I was like, whoa, like I realized like I haven't binge ate in a really long
Yeah.
time. It
From
just I just happened to not be binge eating anymore.
yeah,
And binge eating was always the shit that was like the hardest for me because I really had no control over it.
yeah,
And the more I tried to control it, the more frustrated I
yeah,
got.
yeah.
I was just like, fuck. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
talking about addiction, that's the same thing.
Totally.
Come force yourself out of an addiction when it's there, automatic. Bum, you're gonna go there. It's not even like you think about it,
Totally.
and that's
Totally.
exactly the
I
same
couldn't
process.
stop it. And
But
like
when you change your mind and the way you feel about yourself, but to be able to do that, first you have to be okay looking at yourself,
you are, exactly.
and that's not gonna be pleasant.
And that's the thing that I don't even know is like when I first started doing all of this, I have absolutely no idea if my body actually changed or just the way that I saw my body changed. And
That's
the
the way.
other crazy one that we've talked about before is like I'm an extremely hairy person. Look at him. Like that's me. I have that just all over my legs. And it was something that I got bullied for when I was a kid. And like my body hair has always been this thing in my life that just like I have nightmares about it. Like I literally have nightmares about people seeing my hairy legs. Like it's crazy. It's been this issue for me for my whole life. And once I started and that was part of the exercise is like I wasn't only writing about like, oh, like I don't like my body shape. I was also writing like I don't like my acne. I don't
Yeah,
like how my hair looks. I don't like my hairy ass legs. And there is no way that like my body started producing less hair. But like in my brain, I was like, it's crazy. Like my leg hair is less. And everyone was like, no, it's not, Daisy. But to me, it was less. And like I got to, I'm in a place in my life now where like I don't give a fuck about it. And it's so easy for me to deal with. And like I'm no longer getting like I don't know, it's just like in my brain I have less body hair,
yeah,
but the truth is that actually I just care so much less about my body hair
exactly,
and learn to accept it and
exactly.
love it and be like, hell yeah, I'm extra warm in the winters. I'm lucky. And
You're welcome.
exactly, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's true. Look at these eyebrows.
I
Perfect.
know, but again, I mean, we go back to the same thing. It's perception.
Exactly, but
That
that
is
always
why
blew my mind.
the first exercise I ask everybody to like, okay, look at yourself in the mirror, because man, really look at yourself. Don't stay at in your mind, if you want, in the virtual aspect or whatever you think
Mhm.
you look like.
Yeah,
Look at yourself, and that's
yeah.
what changed everything. Because then, all right, perception is going to be able to change. If you don't look at yourself, you stay stuck at the perception that you have about yourself.
And
And
you
you don't
also
have to look.
say
You
it's
have to look because you know, yeah, I know. I don't. I'm not gonna like that. I don't like my fat
totally,
stomach, or your hair, or
totally.
whatever.
You're
No,
avoiding.
look at it.
Yeah, I was avoiding it. And the other
Well,
part
yeah,
of that exercise is that you not only write about you not only write about the things that you're seeing that are negative, but you write about the ways that it makes you feel.
yes.
And
That's what the point
that
is.
is hard though. It is really
No, no,
hard.
I
Like,
no doubt. I know, because I mean, obviously, it's like, and it's hard for everybody to like anytime you're gonna have to pay attention to the way you feel about anything. Yeah, it's not gonna be pleasant because
yeah.
most of the time it's gonna be negative.
Yeah.
But that's where we start. If you want to change your feeling, you have to be you have to be like very aware of what the feeling is. And if it's connected to like the way you look, obviously you're gonna have to look at yourself and be an
Yeah.
acceptance. This is the way I feel now.
Yeah. That was the big one is I felt like so much disgust about
Yeah,
myself.
and that's where I mean. So again, we go back to the same thing. You have to like be okay feeling disgusted about yourself. That's the way you can change it. And that's why I look, okay, be okay feeling disgusted. But when you work through it at one point or the other, well, then you don't feel disgusted anymore.
Totally.
And
Totally. And it's
that's what I could do.
crazy. The other part that's just so crazy is like being where, who and where and how I feel about myself now. It's so crazy to think about how I felt about myself in the
Before.
past. And I would have never, ever, ever thought
Mhm.
that I would look the way I do now and feel the way that I do now, ever. And that shit is so crazy. And I think that like that I want to say that in order to like motivate people, because I would just really would have never ever thought I would feel this way and look this way. It shocks me. Like I literally like look in the mirror and I'm like, that's my body now. Like what? Like it doesn't like, and I was telling you recently, like you asked me to find photos of myself before I lost weight.
Mhm.
And I literally don't have any because like I deleted all of them and I untagged myself in every photo. Like I literally like every time I saw a photo of myself, I never wanted to see it ever again and I completely deleted everything. And it's so sad. Like that's how embarrassed I was of
Yeah,
myself.
I
That
got it.
like I didn't even keep any pictures.
No.
And I just remember that feeling so much. And it's just crazy. I'm so grateful that I feel this way now. And it was a long journey. And like I said, like it took years and like
Yeah, no, no.
I'm still going, you know what I mean? Like I still have insecurities. My skin is still really bad. I still am like, oh no, my arms are fat. You know what I mean? Like I still have shit, but I care so much less. And I might like if I were to do the list now, the positive and the negatives, bro, there would maybe be like two negatives on there,
Of
and the
course.
rest would be all positive. And that's also a crazy thing. Like I'm not, I don't know, I'm
No,
just thinking
I
about
know,
that
I
now. Like
know.
literally when I started, I was writing pages of negative shit and like three positive things. And now I'm writing pages of positive shit and three negative things. And that's like
Mm.
that's so sick. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah, but again, we'll go back to like where is your focus?
mm,
If your focus is going to be on the negative and that's all you want to see, well, then you're going to have like only thing that you're going to see is the negative aspect.
mm,
That's why, like at the end, I mean, at the end, the second part of the exercise, I mean, yeah, because then you got the third part when you start like bringing like, I love you, I love you, I love you. But the
mm,
second part is what? Okay, look at for some positive. And like you said, at the beginning, it's going to be difficult. Why? Because you're on the way you think about yourself, everything is negative.
totally.
And that's the same thing when we think about life or when we think about your day. And the first thing that you're going to remember is all the negative that happened that day.
Well, yeah, it depends what kind of vibe you're in.
I mean, it's the focus, where your focus is going to be. So
Totally.
now if you like bring, okay, yeah, okay, what was negative today? Boom, you're going to have whatever it is. And then what's positive today? And at the beginning, when I ask that question to people, it's very difficult for them to like come up with nothing is positive. What think? Oh, okay, yeah, I have a good lunch. Okay, good, perfect. And then you do that regularly. At one point, you realize, oh my God, there's more positive that happened today than negative.
Right. And it's, I'm sorry,
So that's just,
who's digging right now? Who is that?
oh,
And okay, so wait, there's also one other thing I want to talk about because it's like, I think that also it's like, it's what's always being reflected back to you is what you think.
yeah,
This one idea that I thought of is like something that I come back to a lot, which is like, like if you feel insecure and you see someone looking at you, you're gonna assume that like they're looking at you thinking whatever you're
yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
And so the thing that I always talk about is I'm like, okay, like my wrist, okay? If I like hate my wrist and I'm like, ugh, it's all bony and disgusting and ugly and there's something about my wrist, but I really fucking hate it, and I see you looking at it, I'm gonna assume that you're looking at my wrist being like, ugh, like that is a
exactly.
disgusting wrist. I hate that wrist. I'm so turned off by this wrist. But if I look at the same wrist and I say, this wrist is so beautiful, so dainty, is so nice, and I see you looking at my wrist, I'm gonna think, oh my God, he loves my
Yeah,
wrist.
no, you're gonna be putting in my
You
face.
know,
I mean, oh, there we go. You're
no,
gonna
no, no,
fuck
but
it.
I'm saying like if you
I
take
know.
the same scene, the
I know.
same wrist,
Yeah.
and someone's looking at it, the my perception of what you're thinking
Yes.
completely just about what I'm thinking about myself. And it
Exactly.
actually doesn't fucking matter what my
I know.
wrist looks like. It just matters what I'm thinking about my wrist.
Yes.
Right? So
Exactly.
if you're changing your mindset and you're like, I look hot, my body is amazing, bum, 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 and you see someone looking at you, you're gonna be like, oh my God, like that person's checking me out because I look fucking fine. But if you feel disgusting, the same
Well,
person can be looking at you the same
and
exact
wait.
fucking way, and you're gonna be like, he's disgusted by me. She thinks that I look ugly today. Like, oh no, they're probably looking at like my muffin top or whatever the fuck.
Well, But
And
it
it's
is
all just about what you are already thinking about yourself.
about you, like,
And
always.
that's why you have to be changing your mindset,
Yeah,
period, over
and
anything.
that's
You don't even need to change your body.
always,
And just like
absolutely.
that.
And that's why, again, I mean, especially on the body aspect of it. I mean, I decided to like try that with you, obviously. And the main problem I have with people is like go through like the stages that you're talking about. Yes, it's not going to be pleasant. That's
At
what you want
all.
to change your body because you don't like it. But you have to be clear about what is it that you don't like about it. Then you can change it. But it's not you
Totally.
changing it. You change your mind toward your body, and your
You
body's
have
gonna,
to acknowledge.
yeah, the body's gonna go like and do like whatever it's supposed to be doing to make you like definitely like happier in the way
Totally.
you like it.
Totally. And that's the hardest part. And that's the
I
part
mean,
that I like, I feel the most like sadness when I think about how I used to feel.
big,
Is
exactly.
like the hardest part is starting the process and
Yeah,
acknowledging how bad you feel about yourself,
yeah,
and how uncomfortable you feel and how gross you feel. That part is the hardest.
yeah,
And looking back from where I am now, like that's the part where like I wish I could just like hold myself when I was younger. You know
yeah,
what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And just be like, you're good and like you are not gross. You're just feeling gross. You know what I
exactly.
mean? And so that's why like yeah, it's really hard and it's not a fun thing to do, but it is so worth it. That
Yeah,
outcome
definitely.
is so worth it. And just
Reward.
expressing those feelings and moving through them and releasing them
Yeah,
is like amazing. It's so amazing. And so even though it's hard, I hope that if you struggle with these things that you try it anyways. And it's really, really important to write about the positive parts as well
yeah,
and write about how those make you feel. And to then just be expressing love and gratitude to yourself and even write about other things that you like about yourself. I
yeah,
used to do that too. I used to write like, yeah, I think I'm fucking ugly, but I think I'm really good at singing and I think I'm a really good friend and I I'm love that I like love being creative. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Look, any positive.
Like all the positives,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah.
But and again, I mean, obviously that will change, like you said, that will change your mindset also, like and start seeing something about you or about your body that
Totally.
definitely
Totally.
like more positive.
Totally.
But I
And
mean,
then the things at the forefront of your brain are not, oh, I'm ugly and I'm
uh,
disgusting. The things at the forefront are like, I'm powerful, I'm amazing,
yeah,
and I'm talented, and I love my personality.
correct, okay.
And it's
So
also hard to acknowledge that you feel negative ways about
yeah,
yourself,
I
but
want
you have to do it with the belief that you're doing this in order to make yourself feel
feel
better
better.
and
Yeah,
that it will make you feel better. Maybe not in that exact moment,
that's
but
true.
it
Oh,
will.
yeah,
And you
it
need to
will
like, and
eventually.
that's why you have to just, you have to keep trying, keep going through it, keep expressing,
It's
and
a
try your best.
it's a process,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Beautiful.
it's worth it. All right, thank you very much. I mean, we might do like more of that like in the next few weeks because I think it's important, even
Totally.
if
And if there's other
reinforce.
things that people are curious to talk about or talk
Yeah,
about the process or anything, I feel like they can ask questions.
no,
We
I
love
definitely. Or
questions.
go to my website, you know, frankbuffa.com. Yeah, exactly. Go to the website. You got my email there, and like just send me email and whatever question you have, especially for Daisy. We'll like well answer them. And
You can ask
again,
about the dogs.
or the dog, or my beard, or